by the defense or accused one?
This morning, all eyes turned to the East London Magistrates Court, where judgment is expected to be handed down in the long-running firearms discharge trial of economic freedom fighters, EFF, leader Julius Malema and his former bodyguard, Adriaan Snyman. After years of postponements, heated exchanges, and political undertones, the case reaches a decisive moment, one that could carry both legal and political consequences for one of South Africa's most outspoken opposition leaders. The case stems from an incident at the EFF's 5th anniversary celebration held in 2018 at the decisive Stadium in East London. During the festivities, video footage widely circulated on social media appeared to show Malema discharging what looked like a high-powered rifle into the air, surrounded by party members and jubilant supporters. While Malema has consistently denied wrongdoing, insisting that no live rounds were fired and suggesting that the weapon in question may have been a toy or demonstration firearm, the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, pressed charges, arguing that his actions constituted a breach of the Firearms Control Act. Alongside Malema, his former head of security, Snyman, faces charges of contravening the same act, with prosecutors alleging he handed the firearm to the EFF leader and failed to ensure it was properly secured. Over the course of the trial, the state leaned heavily on video evidence, eyewitness accounts, and expert testimony, maintaining that Malema's actions endangered public safety and undermined the country's strict gun control laws. Malema's defense team, on the other hand, has consistently challenged the reliability of the state's evidence. They argue that the video footage alone cannot conclusively prove that live ammunition was fired, and they have accused the prosecution of pursuing a politically motivated case intended to tarnish the reputation of the EFF ahead of critical election cycles. Malema himself has frequently used court appearances as platforms to reiterate his stance against what he calls selective justice in South Africa, insisting that leaders of the ruling party often escape scrutiny for similar or more serious transgressions. As the judgment is prepared to be delivered today, tensions are running high both inside and outside the courthouse. EFF supporters, clad in the party's trademark red regalia, began gathering outside the East London Magistrates Court early in the morning. Singing struggle songs and chanting Malema's name, they made their presence felt in a show of solidarity. For them, this trial is not merely about whether Malema pulled a trigger, but about whether the justice system can be trusted to act impartially when powerful political figures are in the dock. Inside the courtroom, journalists, legal observers, and representatives from civil society have packed the benches. The judgment is expected to provide clarity on several contentious issues. Was the firearm genuine? Were live rounds discharged? Did Snyman act recklessly by allegedly handing the gun to Malema? And crucially, does the state's evidence meet the threshold of proving guilt beyond reasonable doubt? Legal analysts note that the stakes are significant. A guilty verdict could expose Malema to a fine or even imprisonment, although the exact penalty would depend on the court's findings and sentencing discretion. Such an outcome would not only impact his personal standing but could also reverberate through the political landscape, potentially affecting the EFF's momentum ahead of the next elections. An acquittal, on the other hand, would likely embolden Malema and his supporters, reinforcing their narrative that the charges were nothing more than a politically charged attempt to derail their movement. Whatever the outcome, the judgment is likely to spark debate and possibly controversy. Malema remains one of the most polarizing figures in South African politics, admired by supporters for his fiery rhetoric against inequality and corruption, but criticized by detractors for his confrontational style and alleged disregard for the rule of law. Today's decision will inevitably feed into those existing narratives, either cementing his image as a persecuted leader or underscoring concerns about his conduct. As proceedings get underway this morning, one thing is clear: the East London Magistrates Court is not just delivering judgment on a firearms case, it is delivering a moment of reckoning that touches on law, politics, and public perception in equal measure. The verdict, when finally read out, will be closely scrutinized not only by legal experts and political commentators, but by a nation still grappling with questions about justice, accountability, and leadership.